Flight boss, bitch. For sure. You're now listening to the Mind of an Esoteric Move. I'm the Royal Archangel Uriel, and I'm here to carry out God duties and motherfucking responsibilities. And this video right here is going to be about the esoteric magic mirror. And I know y'all hear me speak about this a lot, but I don't even think I broke this down. So for the most part, that's what this video about. So, esoterically speaking, what is the magic mirror? Now, before we even get into the mirror concept of it, what is magic? Now, we should all know the common knowledge exoteric, EXO version of it, but esoterically speaking, the internal version that we all got access to before it become an interpretation from some rulership or something like that to become common knowledge as exoteric EXO, we could all jump into the ESO, and we know that it's derived from our three spiritual strengths: faith, belief, and imagination. So magic gets derived from the percentage level of your imagination spectrum of your three powers as a motherfucker spirit, because you got faith, belief, and imagination. So magic comes from your imagination, where the dragon is waiting. And the dragon is your kundalini, your chakras, your will to will things in existence, your solar system, your spaceship, your thoughts and feelings, your Adams and Eves, your father and Lilith, whatever, however you want to call it. You know what I'm saying? But for the most part, that's what these things are. Now, once we start to talk about these internal fire and water that play out as shapeless and formless, smokeless flame in some way, shape, or form, now you could get lost into these things as desires. But for the most part, when you can't piece out each color of the rainbow, you get lost into many desires. One desire, another desire, then you utilize that energy to get another desire. Then now you lost into darkness because all these colors have smeared into one, and now you can't separate your rainbow waters, and now your canopy is broken down as a firmament, and now you're easily persuaded to be easily directed into an area that's not for you in the spiritual realm. So here's the thing, right? That means it's manifesting third dimensionally, a situation that you don't like via person, place, or thing. But here's the thing, when we cling on to an imagination long enough, it starts to manifest into our life like magic, because our spirit work in mysterious ways. And a lot of times we make a lot of mistakes when we get lost into these motherfucking natures. So, as magi, motherfucker magicians, as your motherfucker spirit, you need to know that it work wonders and it motherfucker work miracles. So that M word, is an inverted W, where that W is a way that we go above the horizon. M is how we come below the horizon. So when W above the horizon are higher thoughts and imagination, we can bring it down into the third dimension, and it might look like magic to other individuals because they never seen nothing like that within this world. Do you get what I'm trying to say? So for the most part, when we click on to motherfucker imagination too fucking much, it can start to manifest into your motherfucking life, and here's where you could get lost in certain concepts. You see what I'm saying? So keep that in mind also. Now, getting into the aspect of magic, right? That's how you bring things into existence. Now, understanding magic, this leads us into motherfucker the mirror. Now, we know a mirror represents reflection. So, early in time, before y'all made the material of motherfucking mirrors, right? We was looking at water, because water is the truest like everything you see in nature, we have manifested based upon our temperament, our internal spiritual natures, and then we manifest these physical representations outside of us. So anytime you hear terminologies of water, river, flood in the Bible, you need to know that this is a terminology of representing your emotions or your feelings, and this was the emotions and feelings at that time. So if you hear a bunch of war like stories, that lets you know that the river or the waters was chaotic based upon the interpretation that they was explaining people's emotional vibrations during that particular time. So you see what I'm saying? So when you get into a mirror, right, we know this is tied to membrane, memory, you know what I'm saying, and also reflection of how you think you see yourself in some way, shape, or form. So when you think about water, that deals with the emotions and feelings. So the ability to feel is the ability to see yourself in some way, shape, or form, because fire is just an imagination, but then you got to jump in that fire. But an imagination is too hot in the esoteric realm, so the moment you jump into it as a spirit, you jump into that frequency, you cool it off, and that fluid settle down so you can kind of relax in it, and then that's when it turns into water, and then now you can actually feel out the imagination, you know what I'm saying, in some way, shape, or form. So once we get into Before that motherfucker go out. But yeah, before we get into the motherfucking mirror, you know what I'm saying? You need to know that it's dealing with reflection in some way, shape, or form. So if we're talking esoterically speaking, this is internal. So if we're not talking about the material form of a mirror, we're talking about how you see yourself. So when you come up with an imagination, that imagination, if you put yourself in that imagination, this is how you see yourself. And now you are interacting with the motherfucking esoteric magic mirror now. Now, here's the thing, right? Because people might think this is simple. Okay, so you just saying the magic mirror means how you see yourself. Okay, but look, this dives deep because now you have to understand we manifest this physically. So now we have manifested physical mirrors based upon wanting to see ourselves in water and things of that nature. How we seen ourselves in water, we want to maintain a material that we don't actually have to go to a river to see our reflection anymore. Now, when you look at a physical mirror, the first thing that you start to make sense out of or to be aware of is the things that you don't like about yourself. You're not in a mirror automatically going towards the things you do like. You're in a mirror automatically judging yourself of all things you don't like so you can make yourself better. This is why a lot of people stay in the mirror all day before they even get to do anything. You see what I'm saying? So for the most part, keep that in mind. Now here's the thing. When we talk esoterically speaking, I told you, physically we manifest everything that we already do spiritually. So spiritually, when you're interacting with the magic mirror, right? When how you see yourself, I know you want to see yourself a certain way, but once you start to actually see yourself, you're going to start to pay attention to all the things you don't like. Now, esoterically speaking, when you're interacting with the magic mirror, this is how you start. When you cling onto an imagination, that creates magic, and you manifest that circumstance or situation as a reflection down here in third dimension. So everything in your circumstance and situation that's outside of you is a reflection of you in some way, shape, or form. So keep that in mind. Not saying it is you, it's how you see yourself. And if you agree to that thought and feeling, even though you didn't have to, then for the most part, you clinged on to that imagination. You clinged on to that thought and feeling. So slowly but surely, you as a spirit is using your spiritual strengths, faith, belief, and imagination. And it's your fault because you were supposed to take spiritual responsibility. But as an individual, you manifested these same circumstances and situations in your life that you're pointing at and claim that you don't like. So for the most part, when you're interacting with this motherfucking magic mirror, that's what we're talking about right now. This motherfucking magic mirror. That's all you see. And once you see it, once you create an image and be aware, you create a star in that mirror. And that star is supposed to be a representation of you. And that could play out as a any kind of thing. Something you're lost in the world, another person, place, or thing, or whatever. So here's the thing. When you're interacting with the magic mirror, that's how you see yourself. Think about when you sit back and ponder from a moral state how you see yourself. Right? That's you interacting with the magic mirror, but it goes beyond look and appearance. Sometimes you see yourself incapable. Sometimes you see yourself as unprosperous. Sometimes you see yourself as unlucky. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you see yourself as motherfucker, and I ain't picking on that person from the live stream. I love you from the bottom of my heart. You better believe it. You know what I'm saying? We just understand the knowledge. You see what I'm saying? But for the most part, and wisdom, utilizing wisdom with it. You know what I'm saying? Some of us don't feel too good about ourselves, you know what I'm saying? And that could go into many layers of terminologies and psychologies and different words that they got today, you know what I'm saying, that they put out here. But for the most part, this puts you into a situation of understanding that, you know what I'm saying, once you interact with this magic mirror, compare it to how you're interacting with the physical mirror. You're not going into the mirror to look. It's little to no percentage level that you go into the mirror seeing everything that you do like. If it is things that you do like, you're not giving it a lot of attention. You're going to find the things you don't like and do things to cater to the things that you do like in some way, shape, or form. So notice from an esoterically perspective. You know what I'm saying? I mean, notice from an esoteric perspective. I meant to say esoterically speaking, you know what I'm saying? But esoterically speaking, learn this from an esoteric perspective. You know what I'm saying? When you start to see yourself a certain way, it starts to reflect as the people, places, and things in your circumstance and situation. And if you cling on to that way of seeing, and if it's negative, then these people, places, and things, pardon me, is going to play out characteristics to show you confirmation that you are right. AKA that magic mirror, you created that image, and you created the circumstance of the confirmation for you to be right. So if it was a negative one, that's on you. See, this is why you can have people like Lizzo out here still twerking her ass off, and she don't even suffer half of the stones that be thrown at someone who's probably half her size, but she just feel big. So for the most part, all her family members and everybody she around and her best friends always remind her, and all her circumstances and situations and her own thoughts and feelings always confirm that she is big, not knowing that she's interacting with the magic mirror and she ain't doing nothing but creating that circumstance and situation where she needs to look up to someone like Lizzo so she can start being put in a better perspective in her own circumstance and start manifesting people, places, and things in her surroundings that do like whatever's on her bones that she think is big. Do you see what I'm saying? So like I say it, when you're interacting with this motherfucking magic square, it's reflecting you, but you the one is in charge of the reflection. So make sure whatever that you're trying to manifest as material and make matter in your life so it actually becomes matter in the filter system of a person, place, or thing, circumstance, or situation. Make sure that you take the responsibility of how you see yourself and make it hard for another person, place, or thing to change that. Make them damn near have to go through tooth, nail, and die for them to do that. And that's when you know that's confirmation that you are important and you powerful. And I love y'all from the bottom of my heart. Better believe it.